I think Thiel is one of the most like nefarious actors.
Really?
And he's like deeply embedded in the right because he's one of Trump's biggest donors.
Have you seen what he's been doing with Silicon Valley? And
he's
like,
a vampire.
And he's behind this huge new effort to basically map Christianity onto everything that's happening in Silicon Valley, and he's like he's part of this church, and they're doing these huge conferences.
I haven't seen that. I know he claims to be Christian. He's a strange guy.
He's
I think
he's a gay really Christian billionaire,
married gay Christian. He is a transhumanist vampire though. We'll get to that in a minute. They all are, but like he says things I think he's an extremely smart dude. Yeah. Like, and he's been around for a minute. He unfortunately he helped build the surveillance state post 9/11 with Palantir and all these things. And you know, I'm really against the surveillance state. I really think that is super dystopian. And he's made, I'm sure, billions of dollars off war. You know, on all the wars, plus the surveillance state here and around the world. And like he's part of Facebook. You know, he helped create Facebook. Yeah. He funded Facebook. Yeah. So and they're all and Palantir was funded by Incutech, which is a CIA arm. Oh, Incutel, right? That's a venture capitalist from the CIA. So like all that stuff is very alarming to me, and like they don't like being questioned about that. But I didn't know about the Christian mapping thing. But I've seen him talk about religion.
You can find the article, Steve. Just type in type in Christianity in Silicon Valley, and there'll be a ton of fucking articles. It's like this new phenomenon that's happening, and like, you know, in the past, Silicon Valley has been like the opposite of a religious place. You know?
11 years ago, Elon is saying he's with AI summoning the demon, but recently he says it's a digital god. So they've rebranded even that. Yeah, I haven't seen this, but like
here's just one article. Yeah, there's been a lot of people writing about this lately.
Interesting. Freaking paywalls.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is the one that I read right here.
Interesting.
Christianity was borderline illegal in Silicon Valley, and now it's the new religion. And what I think it has something to do with national security. I don't know exactly. I don't think it's ideology. I think it's some sort of 4D chess that these guys are playing. These leaders of these military industrial complex companies. That are really pushing Christianity to all the people that work inside Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And I think it has. I mean, it's speculation, obviously, right? Like, no, we don't know, but like, who knows how these people think? But what if they think that, you know, look at all these other countries that, you know, they in the Middle East, for just one example, like you have all these people that ascribe to a certain religious worldview, right? You have religious extremists that are willing to go as far as strapping a bomb to their chest and detonate it in a fucking public place. And here it's the opposite of that. You have this crazy diverse array. There's not like one solid foundational worldview people have in America. So that might be some sort of thing that they're trying to do to bolster America or make America stronger.
Yeah, like I honestly have a hard time believing anything he says, although he does say things I agree with. Like I think he also understands that the universities are like ideological death camps. I taught in them. You know, I saw it's crazy what they're doing to kids' minds. He says a lot of things that I think are neat, but like sometimes when I see this stuff, I'm like, I think it's, and this is just my theory, it's their way of trying to get the people on their side that they need, right? Because for so long, a lot of these guys were part of the so-called left. It's left and right really doesn't even mean anything anymore because Trump's not even really right, you know, right-leaning, although he appears to be to the people on the left. But like, they were darlings of the left for so long. Everyone loved Elon. I mean, you go back 10 years and look at Elon on Colbert. They're, we love you so much. We love. They're clapping for Teslas. Those same people are probably keying those Teslas today, right? Or selling their own Teslas. But I think a lot of this stuff is like, so like something I hear a lot when I criticize someone like Elon or Thiel, because Rumble and then X, and they'll say like, oh, well, look what they're doing for freedom of speech. I think that's amazing. I agree. X is a lot better. It's still got a lot of problems, and Rumble's pretty cool. But like, my opinion is they're doing this to kind of endear themselves to the dissident voices. So now you're not like what we're saying earlier with like independent media. A lot of these voices I'm seeing be reluctant to question these people now at all. Like you don't hear much about a lot of like negative stuff, like legitimate like concerns about these people from the right or the so-called dissident voices. And I think that's like the most important conversation.
There's
right
a
now.
Few people, but very few.
You'll hear like Whitney Webb.
Kyle Kalinski's been going hard.
Oh, has he? Someone I never listened to. But
really?
Do you think it's like
he's
legitimate?
a guy who came out of Rogan. I mean, he was literally created by Rogan.
Do you think he has like legitimate concerns about Elon, or does he just be like?
No, I mean, he's very critical of Rogan and Trump and Elon and all these people and calling out like all of the. I think some of it is pretty reasonable, but I think a lot of it is like just super toxic and biased and just, you know.
That's what's so hard.
He's a little bit out of control.
Because I'll see the left hate a lot of these people for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like a lot of like knee-jerk reactions to things that I think kind of water down the real problems. And then the right just refuses to see the problems at all.
Right.
Because they're so happy that they won, you know, with the help of these people, for sure. Because Thiel's one of Trump's biggest donors since 2015-ish. You know,
and Alex Karp donated millions of dollars to Kamala. How funny is that?
I know. That's why these people have no moral center.
No.
Their only path and their only goal in life is power over us and money. Right? Like they make money off these crises, right? Like COVID, a lot of people made money off that. A lot of the social media companies made money off that. Well, also destroyed people's lives.
Yeah.
Right. Small businesses went out. In New York, we lost thousands of small businesses, but these major companies were fine.
Yeah.
So like you see the things that they're creating. It's like the military industrial complex. You know what Palantir does, what Anduril, I can't even say Anduril. Like that's a weird company.
Yeah.
Clearview AI is one of the scary ones to me with the facial recognition app, because it's like it's inescapable, right? That's why the only thing I don't know what to do other than like try to have ethics from the bottom up, because these companies are not going to be like, well, you know, we're not going to use it for bad reasons, but the idea of what's bad is different every day in politics. You know, something that was acceptable last year is now not acceptable. You know, they're always moving the goalposts. And these people are very open about how this world is going to just crush humanity, you know. But they say, you know, someone like Mark Andreessen would say it's a techno. Did you read his Techno-optimist manifesto? It's like the opposite of the Unabomber's manifesto. You know, it's a very joyous outlook, which is like, look, I'm very against the violence with the Unabomber, but that manifesto says a lot of things that are really interesting in terms of like universities and politics. Like he saw a lot of problems back then.
Wasn't he MK Ultra?
They say
he was in a Harvard study, right?
They say, yeah, that's crazy, right?
Google that.
I think it was when he was a kid or something.
Type in Ted Kaczynski Harvard experiments.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. What was I gonna say to you?
But I was saying Techno-optimist like manifesto, and just like the way like they're billing this world where we're gonna have machines and it's gonna be really, really great with no problems.
Right. I was gonna say, Elon is the thing. A thing about Elon is like, you know his famous story about how in 2000 and I think it was maybe 2000 is when I think it was maybe December of 2000 or 2008. Maybe it was 2008, December of 2008. He told this story about how like they needed to make payroll or whatever. And like his accountants came to him and said, you got to bankrupt either Tesla or SpaceX. Or else we're not going to be able to, we're going to lose both.
Right.
And he was like, I'd rather die than lose one of those companies.
Right.
He's like, we'll make it happen.
I mean, he got a lot of money from the military.
And then he ended up, and then there's this story that this guy, John Kiriakou, this CIA agent, tells how in like 2 months later, he was at this big dinner and Elon was there at this like government dinner with a bunch of fucking CIA and NSA people.
That makes sense.
So if you're fucking, it doesn't seem right. Right. Yep. If you're going through that, trying to fucking make your company survive, your $1 billion company survive, what are you doing at some Washington dinner with a bunch of CIA and NSA people?
You're making bank.
Right.
You're making bank. I mean,
guess.
he is helping sustain the surveillance state right now with Starlink. You know, they've got all these contracts with using Starlink satellites to, you know, put up all the Lockheed Martin type satellites, maybe his own, who knows. So there's a lot of things he just can't talk about because he probably signed a ton of NDAs. You know, that's why I always find it weird when he talks about aliens. It always seems so forced.
And the moon.
Yeah.
We definitely went to the moon.
Yeah. Okay, dude. Look, something's up there. It might be like something that looks like the moon, but I don't know if it's what we've been told it is. But like, everything that these people, him, Thiel, like the whole PayPal like mafia type crowd is very strange to me. And now they're completely infiltrated the government. Like they've been a part of all the administrations to some degree, but now it's like really like it's Trump, and now they're like outwardly like we're building this dystopia. I mean, they think it's a utopia, but like, you know, so they're creating this false god. They're creating like an omniscient presence with the spy satellites, with the surveillance state. So like those are the things that really worry me.